This is episode 12 of Starting from Zero in Farming Simulator 25, and today we're making some massive expansion moves that will blow your mind. Welcome back to another episode where we transform dirt into dollars. It's January, and you know the drill. I start every morning checking on all my production facilities and making sure my livestock are healthy and well-fed. But today's different because winter has arrived, and that means it's the perfect time to expand our operations in ways you won't believe. Since there's not much field work to do during the winter season, I came up with an ambitious expansion plan. First stop, purchasing farmland 65 for $284,000. But that was just the warm-up. Next, I headed over to my solar farm construction site and dropped a whopping $2,337,530 on brand new solar collectors. We're now more than halfway done with this massive solar installation, and let me tell you, this investment is going to pay dividends for years to come. Now, I have to address something that's been driving me absolutely crazy. Those tree decorations scattered around the solar farmland are still there. And despite all the amazing suggestions you've given me in the comments on YouTube and TikTok, I still haven't found a way to remove them. Before wrapping up January, I had one crucial task: making room for new pigs. You see, my 16-month-old pigs are about to reproduce next month, so I needed to sell some of the current stock. I sold 21 pigs from 3 different age groups: 21 that were 3 months old, 21 that were 7 months old, and 21 that were 16 months old. The total earnings? An impressive $57,960. I was genuinely surprised by how profitable this pig operation has become. With January's tasks complete and winter limiting our field activities, we're jumping straight into February. February kicked off with my usual morning routine, but this time I spent extra time at the pigsty. And for good reason. Those 17-month-old pigs had reproduced, blessing us with 68 brand new piglets. But here's where strategic planning comes in. I knew the 8-month-old pigs would also reproduce next month, so to avoid overcrowding, I sold all 69 of the 17-month-old pigs for $120,750. Talk about starting the month with a bang. Between the pig sales and my passive income generators, I quickly reached $730,700. Time for another major expansion move. I purchased farmland 77 for $386,700. Now, let me share the strategy behind this particular field selection because every decision I make has a purpose. I immediately grabbed my tractor, attached the planter, and headed straight to field 77 to plant cotton. Here's my logic. My sheep are producing wool, and I want to maximize profitability by processing that wool further. But wool alone won't be enough for the production facility I have in mind. That's why I'm adding cotton to the mix. Later in this episode, I'll reveal which production facility I chose and share detailed profitability analysis of all the production chains that use wool and cotton. After the worker finished planting field 77, I needed to roll it for maximum yield. Off to the shop I went, purchasing a roller for $46,500. I hired a worker to roll the field and get us closer to that crucial 100% yield bonus. While that worker was busy rolling field 77, a contract appeared, sowing cotton on field 55 for $3,700. Since I already had the planter attached to my other tractor, I accepted the contract and hired a worker to handle it. Efficiency is everything in this business. That concluded our February operations. Now, let's dive into March. March began with the usual morning routine and livestock check. The new baby pigs had arrived, which was fantastic news. However, I noticed my goats and sheep were running low on food, so I transported one bale to each barn to ensure continuous feeding. A nearby contract opportunity popped up, sowing field 55 with cotton for $2,400. Being so close to my farm, it was an easy decision to accept and earn some quick cash. Before March ended, my cement factory had been working overtime, producing 12 pallets of cement bricks. That's 12,000 liters total. I sold them at the farmer's market for $56,900. What a fantastic way to close out the month. April arrived, and I was thrilled to see we'd crossed the $1 million milestone again. All these strategic investments are definitely paying off. The first thing I noticed was that my goats had produced their first 1,000 liters of goat milk. Excellent progress. But then I spotted a devastating mistake I'd made, and I was absolutely furious with myself. Last month, I should have sold half of my sheep so they could reproduce this month. But I completely forgot to do it, missing an entire reproduction cycle. I was genuinely mad at myself for this oversight, though at least I'll be getting more wool production to compensate. Despite my frustration, I had to keep moving forward. I jumped into my tractor and headed to field 65 to sow it with corn. I chose corn specifically for my pigs because someone in the comments mentioned that corn is the optimal pig food. Combined with the barley from my other 2 fields for the chickens, this should create a perfectly balanced feed system. Hopefully, this single field can supply a full year's worth of corn for my pigs. We'll definitely find out. While the worker was sowing field 65 with corn, my grass fields had reached perfect maturity for mowing. I hopped into my Fiat tractor, attached the mowers, and headed to field 44, hiring another worker for the mowing operation. Once the mowing was complete, I sent that worker to a different field and hired another worker for windrowing. I had to wait for my Deutz-Fahr tractor to become available. The worker needed to finish sowing corn on field 65 first, then I could use that tractor for baling the grass. But first things first, field 65 needed rolling, and that was the immediate priority. Once the worker finished on field 65, I grabbed my tractor, picked up the baler, and headed straight to the grass fields to create silage bales. However, I made a different decision for field 12. Instead of silage bales, I used my basic baler to create regular grass bales. The reason? I only had 5 grass bales remaining in storage, which wouldn't be nearly enough to feed my sheep and goats. After baling field 12, I transported all the grass bales to my farm's bale storage facility. Speaking of storage, I'd been collecting straw bales for several years, and they were taking up valuable space with no immediate use. Time to liquidate them. I managed to earn $24,700 from the straw bale sale. My cement factory had produced 3 more pallets of cement bricks, which I sold for $14,200. With just under $1.2 million in the bank, it was time for a major strategic investment. I purchased the Spinnery for $180,000, and here's why this is the most profitable production facility for wool and cotton processing. Let me break down the numbers for you. If you choose the rope maker instead, you'll actually lose money. You'd earn more selling raw wool. To be exact, you'd lose $5,700 every single month. But with the Spinnery, you earn an additional $7,368 more per month compared to selling raw wool. You can process the fabric from the Spinnery even further into clothes, though I'm not sure I'll go that route yet. It would be more profitable, but it requires significantly more wool and cotton input. If you want a detailed breakdown video analyzing the profitability of all these production chains, let me know in the comments and I'll create one. Throwing all those numbers into this episode would be overwhelming. I transported the 9 pallets of wool from my sheep and configured the Spinnery to produce fabric. The production line is now officially operational and generating profits. And that's a wrap on episode 12 of Starting from Zero in Farming Simulator 25. We've made incredible progress, crossing the $1 million mark again, expanding our farmland, building a massive solar installation, and establishing a profitable textile production chain. If you enjoyed watching this farming empire grow, smash that like button and subscribe for more episodes. And remember, if you want that detailed profitability breakdown for wool and cotton productions, let me know in the comments below. Next episode, we'll see how our new investments perform and continue building this agricultural empire. Until then, keep farming and keep growing.